Hi, and welcome to my sewing room. My name's Leah, and I'm on week 14 of my UFO challenge, where I spend at least 15 minutes a day sewing on my UFOs. Last week, I got all my Dresden plates glue basted on the back of their white squares, and I got all the 2.5-inch squares cut out for my sashing, except for some of the purples. The goal this week was to stitch down the Dresdens onto the white squares and find some more purple pastel dot fabric. Well, on Wednesday, I spent 15 minutes and I only got one Dresden sewn onto a block. It took all of my 15 minutes. I used a blanket stitch on my sewing machine, and that was slow going, as I had to go slow to make sure the stitches aligned up with the points and the valleys of my Dresden plate. At this rate, it's going to take me 17 days just to stitch down each Dresden, so I decided to make an executive decision and change directions. I decided I would work on a different UFO and put my pastel Dresden on hold just for a little bit. Let me explain my thought process behind that. This next week and a half, I'll be traveling. 2 of my boys are graduating from college, and I'll be flying out west to see their graduation. After that, I'm driving across America to bring one of my sons back home with me. That means lots of time in the car and lots of time for a hand project. So even though hand stitching does take longer than machine stitching, I'll have a big chunk of time to work on these in the next week and a half. That means instead of having them done in 17 days, I can have them done in 7. I was also unable to find some purple fabric in my area, so I plan to stop at a few quilt shops along the way home. Surely I can find some purple pastel dot fabric somewhere in America. I'll be going through Paducah, Kentucky, so I definitely have to stop at Hancock Fabrics. Surely they'll have something there for me. So timing is the main reason for change of direction in my UFO for last week. But don't worry, I'm going to jump right back into my pastel Dresden this next week. So now that you know what my goals are for next week, let me show you what I did for the rest of last week. Thursday, I wanted to pull out a UFO that I could jump right into and easily put back in the box when I got back to my pastel Dresden. This left my one block wonder UFOs off the list. I have all those triangles sewn, and the next step for them is to put them on the design wall, and that doesn't go back into a box easily. I knew I had a couple kits that I had cut out previously that were ready to go, so I grabbed the closest one. This one is called Blooms for Annabelle. I bought it in January of 2014. It sat for a while, but then several months ago I took it out and cut everything out and got it ready to sew. This one does have some applique on it, which I still need to cut out, but the main blocks are ready to go. So I pulled those out and started sewing. Thursday, I sewed up half of the half square triangles. Friday through Monday, I spent my 15 minutes cutting, pressing, and trimming them to the right size listed in the pattern. Since this is someone else's pattern, I can't give out the dimensions to my blocks. And I would love to put a link in the description below, but the pattern is 10 years old and I can't find a link to it anywhere. But it is called Blooms for Annabelle, and it was by Bloom Creek, and the author is Vicky Bellino. So if you really love this pattern, you can go on a fun treasure hunt to try to find the pattern for yourself. Yesterday, I decided on a layout and stacked and labeled my rows and put them back in the box. It was fun taking a UFO detour this week and showing another project some love, but I'm ready to get back to my pastel Dresden quilt. I'm excited to finish this one up before spring ends. Perhaps I'll pull out Blooms for Annabelle again when I'm finished with my pastel Dresden. Then I can have 2 spring quilts ready before summer hits. By the time of this posting, I should be flying out west. And on Sunday, I'll start my trek back to the south. I'll be heading to the Badlands of South Dakota, driving through Nebraska, Missouri, and Kentucky. And then I'll stop off in Memphis to visit my daughter for a couple days before I head back to South Carolina. I'm hoping if I have good Wi-Fi, I can give you another update of my UFO progress on the road. If you know of any cool roadside stops along my route, let me know. And if you have a favorite quilt shop along the way, I'd love to hear that too. It would be nice to stop and stretch my legs. Thank you so much for following along with my UFO journey. I really enjoy sharing it with you. And thanks so much for commenting on my past videos. It really means a lot to me. Until next time, happy sewing.